Look, time doesn't wait. We have to get started.
Chenmo jumden de shin chenmo da jumbo yanda to be
Sangye
rebo da shak demba de war chenmo jiden chenmo jevu de kalo yurba kana me ba da me nam je demba sangye jumden de be jewa
Shaya Sarva La
ta de lo jodo ya de Chenmo jumden de shin chenmo da Gaba zobe sangye riba da shaksu de ora shebo jide jebo jivu duve kalu yur dana meba radam mena je deba sangye jode deve yevo shakya tuba la jazam jodo jazo jevo demo jode de shin sheba rajombo yanda zobe sangye riba da shaksu deba devara sheba jide jemba jevo duve kalu yurma dana meba radam mena Gamba sanje jumde de be jawa shakya tuba la chatse jodo jazu je kanze kane so kyo dante sajen de la gomba du murne kane jiden de la choje so de se kyewa kyo la chatse namda kuma jodo dudam Yeshe jazo sege lombor Tava jede zona lame wa gombo Kyuni kyula chatsalo Nanda kuma chodo zuzanwa Yeshe jazo sege lombor Tava jede zona lame wa gombo Kyuni kyula chatsalo Senjo denpa jime dawe cha Sendo rawa kyala cha Tunde kyala siva suna ji Nyame kinji kyala cha Gombo tuji jendenpa Tamje kembe tumba bu Sona yunde gyazo de Deshin shela cha Nabe deja tewa gyur Gewe nyezon petroja Chigdu dandan chogyur ba Chigyur chela cha Rone robe laya de Laba dala radune Chenje damba yende de Gindu laya cha Deva chiya mecha se Gewa kusum sobarge Rangi sene yonsu de Tene sange temba yi Kama ravi marme da Yuma seba chukurda Melam loban tinda Vo diji chuna didarda Sonan di tamsi sipayi Koban topne kyungen radunde Gada nada chive lotru ne sive tsolin Drowa druvara sho
To the founder, the endowed transit, the destroyer, the one gone beyond, the foe destroyer, the completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, nor of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendence, destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings, and go for refuge. When the supreme among humans you were born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who were wise then I prostrate. With pure bodies, form supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme signs, face like the spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, 3 worlds are not. Incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you, the one God, the thusness I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtue which frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to that Dharma which pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path of liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you, the sublime community intending virtue, I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions. Perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a mirage, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Do these merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all seeing, subdue the pole of false, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by waves of aging, sickness, and death.
Baba Gunju Samacha Selu Dike Dagi Toba Dijena Jandende Jibuka Jago Kumbore Gin Jambo Da Janju Sembe Gindu Chenpo Da Taro Jibu Jitene Jondende Samana Wa Shijawe Shige Nandangi Denge Zela Nyambara Shuzo Yang Janju Zemba Zemba Jimbo Mamba Jire De Wanju Shera Givara Du Jimba Zamo Jibo Nila Nambara Tashin Mofo Mabo Deda Laya Rangi Tombara Nambara Tao Ene Sanji Ji Tu Deda Demba Jari Bu Janju Zemba Zemba Jimbo Baba Jire De Wanju La Baba Jire De Wanju La Dike Je Meso Reji Bu Gala Sheragi Baradu Jemba Sama Cheba Chuba Duba De Chitar Lapar Cha Jeme Bodo Janjo Zamba Zamba Jimbo Baba Jereze Wanju Ki Sedan Demba Sharada De Bula Dike Jemeso Shari Bu Rigi Bu Mo Gala Sheragi Baradu Jemba Sama Cheba Chuba Duba De Chitar Nambar Tawar Chate Dedala yang rangi tombar nambar yang dabar jesu tau zu tombo tomba ni zuzo zule tomba ni shemayin tomba ni le jang zu shemayin no dejendu sorwa dan duje dan nambar sheba tomba o jarebu deda chu tamje tomba ni de tsini memba mageba magaba tima meba tima dan trewa meba gangwa meba o Darebu de dawena tomba ni la zume, sorwame, dushime, nambar sheba, mime, nawame, tame, cheme, lume, yime, zume, rame, time, rome, rejame, chume, dome, kame, bane, hige, nambar shebe, kanche, bardu, yameto, mariba, seba, meba, negashi, gashi, sebe, bardu, yameto, Tejendo Dongma Wadam Kunju Wadam Gopa Lame Ishime Topa Matopa Yamedo Sherebo Davana Janju Semba Nam Topa Mebe Cher Sheraje Baru Semba Late Nete Semla Jiba Mejin Chapa Mete Chinje Lole Shindu Dene Nyangele Debe Tar Shindu Shuzondo Nambar Shubu Sange Damje Sheraje Baru Semba Late Lana Mepa Yanda Zobe Chanjudu Mombara Zoba San Yeso Dedavana Sheragi Baradu Chimpenga Riba Chimpenga Lana Mepenga Minya Badanya Penga Tunga Tamse Radu Shivar Chipenga Mizubana Deva Sheba Jati Shiragi Paradu Chimbenga Deva Tayata Gandhi Gandhi Paragade Parasangade Buddhi So Sharibu Janju Samba Samba Chabu Teta Shiragi Paradu Chimba Samola Lapar Chavo Tene Chumde De Tingi Zendele Shendi Janju Samba Samba Chabu Mama Shendi Wanjula Shejawa Chene Leso Leso Riji Hu Tede Shino Tede Shindi Chidarajuji Temba Shindu Shiragi Paru Samola Chepara Chade Tishin Sheba Namjan Jesu Yiram Ochom Tede Tege Ka Sene Sedan de Bashada Da Debo Da Janju Samba Samba Jumbo Mamba Chene Se Wanju Tamje Dan Dembe Kuru De Dada Dada Meda Ama Ida Chebe Jede Yirande Jomden Deje Sumba La Momba
Page 11. Thus I have heard, once the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajagriha, vultures speak together with a great assembly of monks and bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One was totally absorbed in the concentration that examines all phenomena, called profound illumination. And at the same time, the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, was engaged in the profound practice of the wisdom Gambhya, analyzing the five aggregates by nature empty. Then, through the inspiration of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra spoke to the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, how should those of good family learn who wish to follow the profound practice of the wisdom Gambhya? Thus he spoke, and the noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, replied to the Venerable Shariputra, saying, O Shariputra, whatever son or daughter of good family wishes to follow the profound practice of the wisdom Gambhya, should look at it like this, analyzing the five aggregates by nature empty. Form is empty, emptiness is form, emptiness is no other than form is no other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, recognition, karmic formations, and consciousness are all empty. Therefore, Shariputra, all phenomena are empty without characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are neither impure nor free from impurity. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no recognition, no karmic formation, no consciousness. There is no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. There are not. There is no. Yeah, these all the way up. There is no nor is there thus there is no suffering, no causes of constipation, no there is no wisdom, no attainment, no non-existence. Therefore, because there is no safety, all what is opposite but was divine, and because there is no security, they have no page. Passing utterly beyond the they reach beyond the bounds of stars. All the Buddhas who love the times by one wisdom God. Fully and truly awakens to us fast and perfect complete enlightenment. Therefore, the one concentration praise the noble outlook for us for those that belong to that's one gathering it's God and so not really signing my Chanju Lamji members, Chanju Lamji members. Chanju to say you Lamji to say Langa. And until a Chawa to get the bag when you do the contest of the S, Progan, London, Riba Shadel, and Chanju Lamji members in City.
vegetable mingi sigi that the leisure is one.
And now it is Sunday, and we resume the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment. Enlightenment is the destination. The path to enlightenment is the means for achieving enlightenment. The great treatise on the path is the relevant material for the individual undertaking the path to the destination, enlightenment.
지 보고도 이제 당고 고바지 알라고 고바도 라 아니 신의 드러션 봤어 아니 드러나라 보러 되나 신세네 다 다른 거랑도 밖에 창조를 남기지 벌어 다 말아도 유매봐 아니 람 파르고 뱅에 송게 내내 되네 된도지 된도는 상계서 저거 람을 못 되는 줘야 라비아지 또 통화 라버 체백이 아니 신이 된 주생의 쉬우지 신이 맞된 거이나 아니 밖에다 남나 드러메신 나신게 말아서 봐 자주 남기지 왜냐면 중투부 여말에 어딘지 주벌 체배가 통화 신이 때문에 가장 개체 뭐 일이 고탕고대다 남지 싸워서 맹베 개체슈디 맹다 아니 신이 된 주스 고디네 주고 송여래서
Then what would we do? How would we tread the path? Supposing we must travel along this path, where are we to begin? How would we proceed? One may well be uncertain and unsure of themselves. It happens naturally that one would be. Where one begins is necessarily in guru devotion. So we ourselves in the ordinary world first instruct the child in how they would walk, and then afterwards what they might do, being able to walk. So now we ourselves have no experience in the path, yet we aspire to improving our fortunes, liberating ourselves from the hell realms, improving our fortunes through heavenly rebirths and births as human beings, and ultimately in achieving Buddhahood. And in order to achieve this, first one must rely upon the Kalyana Mitra, the Guru. Without doing so, failing to do so, one is mired in unknowing. So one begins with Guru discipline. It is the entry point to the path, and it is appended with the most noble title, the very root of the path, Guru devotion. Just as parents instruct the child in how the child would walk, so too in the arising or development of realization of the path, it begins in Guru discipline. Through Guru discipline, every aspect of the path may be realized. Without Guru discipline, none of the aspects of the path. And so it is the most important discipline of all is the Guru discipline. The child who learns to walk then matures into a middle-aged person able to proceed independently, so would we too, by first relying upon the Guru, develop that which and achieve that which is so difficult to come by, the precious human rebirth, and then we are able to achieve what we undertake. We are intelligent and able to realize what we would realize.
간제 공부 접투는 걸 로토야 지도라 아주 탑시 가리는 시기로 어디 쳐도 집어다 아니 디네바 람라 만으로 왔다 람라베 탈지 뭐 로토야 지도라 아니 미다바 공부지 아니 디네 잠도 랜데 데줄로베 되다 아주 지나지네 기부 중국을 남세 그래 간단 디디디 나야 간사 조사를 나가라 치대메 로토야 탑시에 전달라 미다바 공부 아니 잠도 랜데 공부 어디기 디오 말을 맞히는 거래 손
And that which urges us forward, pushes us forward onto the path, and to continue along the path, and to continue without error along the path, is the meditation upon impermanence. And following the meditation on impermanence, the going for refuge. And in addition, karmic causality, these topics of the Dharma of lesser scope. And then, having been urged along the path in this way, one is able to proceed and does not dally, for one is meditating upon impermanence.
that is it. That in a mark who Russian and it's Pocket Lamla, ye yun Jibboli Jobata, Yangama Juata, and the park on the Tarchimba Yoang drag Tapchigero or Chiva Nashi, and Maranzo Yang, Koeg Nelapa Tarchimba Toya Tablaya, and the Jugdog Rimba, you would drink Lamji Rimba, and in Deshita, Dendeg Namsha, Koa Jugdog Namsha to get shade, and the park on Tarchimba Yoang, that long temper you will response.
As one proceeds along the path, to the left and to the right, the precipices that are fearsome, for protection from them, so that one is not fearful of them, as it were, one learns the Dharma of the middle scope, how one reverses entry into samsara and liberates oneself from the bondage of samsara, through the four truths of the nobles and pratitya samutpada, the dependent origination of all things.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Koa Judog Lamrim and Ranga, but Jugu Chiguameba, and a bit Lobjon in a lot of Tarkamba, and the Chipaka Chido, Neda and Chido Nazan of Tarchipa Yong, the Nashi, Arandoya, Koeg, Kangele, Gumeba, Koala, Tarchipa Yoagitadala. And you would drink lamb, quad dog, and body song. But in a yapot round Russian but chattered, and a rangita, and that road, and it's a raw tamji triba. By Shella by Chituya, and the Nuba, Toyaka, and it's round touching but Chiba Shan, touching but Chituyaki. And then lamb to Besane, and give Chimbu lamb bass, that Ninji Chembo, Chamba, Ninji, and the Hasam, and the Chanju was sentence, and the only to the dogs of torches. The
means for reversal of cyclic existence, the means to fearlessness, to complete comprehension of all that is to be understood, as it were, a person who has completed all their studies, is fully educated. These achievements come through the Dharma of middle scope for liberation from cyclic existence, through the reversal of entry into cyclic existence. And then once oneself has achieved this fearlessness and competence, then one begins to instruct others too along the same way, friends and family, and others, all through love, compassion, the altruistic intent, the mind of awakening itself, bodhicitta, shunyata, emptiness, these united as wisdom aspect and method aspect are the practices of the Dharma of greatest scope.
that's a lamb rimba singing. Rimba that was how was called. Shinyi Denzune and Jibuchung Ding Tama. And it's a watching the Lambda Love that and it Tama the Kawarsana. And it that don't need to be Shine the Hadon Chanju Sembi, Simbege, Shine, Hadon Tosona, and it Lamring Lam Tab level response.
These then are the stages which begin with the first access of the path through Guru devotion and contain the practices of the Dharma of middle scope and greatest scope. And in the very end, the union of method and wisdom, the union of the mind of awakening and penetrating insight to emptiness in shamatha and vipassana. This is the very completion and end.
That's the Lamji Rimbati on Travache. That Lamji Rimbati get a Labia Chidula, Maranzo Caricor, Labia Chidula, and it's soon of Yuze, Love Gonan, Manzo Tuzuge, Tangamara, Love Gigi Mare, Givala, Kasik Chimbo Yores, says on that, and this do Maranzo Love Devo, Chunjuji, Love Kachene, and it's Lam to Landic, Chatan Shimba Yor, then this is Kandala, and that Tanju Lamrim singing the Keto Kawa, Yimbati. I think that in a more true response.
So then an outline of the trainings of the path, those that are presented by the innumerable scriptures of the Buddha Dharma, which were one to pursue them, these innumerable scriptures of the Dharma, there would not be sufficient time. They would present great challenges to our comprehension. So what we require is some greater ease, a slim text that when we open it lends itself to comprehension, ready comprehension. And so we have the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, that is that slim exceptional text through which we can fathom the Buddha Dharma.
Oh, dangerous. That and then you do on Sanju Lamja Zimbala, Loba Singedi, Tangola Loba, draw gore, Dumba gore. Oh, the butter draw manner and Loba passing by Yungumare. Oh, this is that, and walk to more Kuluncheba singing go here, Kulunche said that, and that Sanju Lamja Zimbala, Tosam Kulunchebala, and it give Chimbu Lamjas. That's the Bala Lovegi, Kulunche down the go here. The Kulun shoot Chimbo, the run, call a Tavegi, Tabdi, Simba Majeba. Taber. Rangi twenty parlor than a chance and jet tamje. Rana teacher or Garicho, this summer one, and to get them to call to men, job a chicken, job a chidula. And Sanju Lamja Bala lobby, lobby, and Sanje Toba Chigi, Sandra Kulundi, Jimmy Kuluncho or Hesons.
Then one trains in the great treatise on the path to enlightenment, in the stages of the path to enlightenment. But to do so, first one must feel an enthusiasm for training in the path, and one must have an aspiration to actually train in the path. Where there is no enthusiasm and there is no aspiration to train, then there can be no consummation of the trainings in the path. And so one begins with the refinement of one's intention, which underlies one's study and contemplation. And this intention would be refined into the intention of the Mahayanas, the greatest scope, wherein one has divested oneself from self-interest and does not strive merely for liberation personally from cyclic existence, but recognizes the value and preciousness of all others, and then undertakes their trainings to achieve enlightenment for the well-being of others.
Oh, yeah, that Kulung is Cheba Yina, that Mazuit, Tosum Chebati, rangi nyamlen rogu yores kulung de ma cheba yena ani ti nyamlen doya shira khago yores
When one defines their intention this way and studies and contemplates, naturally one receives the rewards oneself. But when one does not strive for the well-being of others, one also excludes oneself from the benefits of their training.
chebar도 파파 체와시다 계주 숨승에데 가장 둘라 셰버레스 바나 체와시 생데 템바탐제 게메 또 집에 체와 송라마를 당하도 집에 자와 여외고 모델라도 집에 체와 예주치 뭐랑가도 그 체가 쓰다 말아도 배 냠내 체발라 된대기 체와시다 대백이 아니 송랍딜라 냠내 체기 요배다 아니 체와시데 모셔나 시라야 고요레서
Last week, too, I described the 4 great qualities of the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment and the 3 great purposes of the text. Now, these first 4 are the greatness of enabling one to know that all of the teachings are free of contradiction, the greatness of enabling one to understand that all of the scriptures are instructions for practice, the greatness of enabling one easily to find the conqueror's intent, and the greatness of enabling one to refrain automatically from great wrongdoing. And should one understand these 4 features of the great treatise, then one will better understand its contents.
나 체와시에 맞아 계주 숨 시기래서 계주 숨나 계주 숨 가리어스나 안에 최 장주 람림 딜라 도선 지리 안에 가리어스는 송라도 제자 땅도 제자 망고시고지요 제자 타마 수 뒤니 제자 마상와 매바 차상 땜바 인상 아니 송랍 셴레 개발도 봐봐지 요레스 아니 다 말아도 최 냠내 지고하고 있다 고박도 가르스나 셈 뒤에서도 지고레스 그래서 자주 라면 셈 뒤에서 뭐데 또 텐치데 바 라도 렌 땡기 유바이자 아니 수수 냠내지도 라도 렌다베 개주요레스 아니 이제 또야기 맹아 개발도 하고 거기서 맹아 개발도 하고디 아니 자체를 남기를 받아 사물 남기를 받 니래 자체를 남기를 받아 또 하고 루루기 유네 냠내 지고가 mas saber rebate yabe jachiwe rebate to phaba thome ani chunglo tene shebar chigo cheda dinyi gi mengala kheba suresna lo ludu gi mengala khebati rebe khuchu nyise lo phaba thome gi mengala khebati lama siling bache o cheda lama siling be menga tang rebe khuchu menga gi sasan ne chu dubade ani changju la men de yoba inza 아니 내가 시행을 매 개발스 어떤 데기 개발 숨송을 해서
The 3 additional exceptional qualities of the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment are first that there are to study and to contemplate innumerable topics in the Buddha Dharma, yet all of these are condensed and present in the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment. This sets it apart as exceptional, even among other texts, for containing every topic. And the second exceptional quality is that all Dharma scriptures share the purpose of pacifying the mind of the disciple to be tamed. And in every stage of the path presented in the great treatise, this remains the sole purpose. It is shown in the text all the means for pacifying the mind, and this makes for the second exceptional quality of the great treatise. And the third is that it is the condensed oral instruction of the lineage of the profound view and the lineage of extensive deeds. The lineage of profound view stemming from originally Nagarjuna, and interpreted most importantly by Vidyalokika, and the lineage of extensive deeds stemming from in the first Asanga's scriptures and interpreted importantly by Suvarnadvipa. These two lineages and their oral instructions are condensed into one in the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, making for the third great quality of the text.
Oh yeah, that and take a keju Chenmo Shida. Keju Sumba Chewa Shida de Big, that's one time you love losing the Lama person take yours. That person chair de la, person Chedan de la, that Harisna. One of the most Jayagi, Lam most Lamrigi, Lam most Tayadi, Kibu Chimbo Lamji Rimbari. Kibu Chimbo Lamji Rimbas, and the Rangi, Yams Langwala, Rangi Gula, Kever Chevala, and the Sonam, so Yachimbo Sabu, or teach to look. I Joe Chuji, Joe Chuto, the Naganchi Dorcheva, Kosunduji, Dan Tamba, Chova Yema, go to several samples. Then the Ola, and the Lord Jesam, not doing Chun. Yes, I'm Chibarjan, Jamro Shava, she got forcing said of Maba Sajan and Neduba, Yala, the Mededa Cheva Chawas. And then Chuba, and then Toa de Bima, Judah Tenga to Chawas, and that Joe Chutu with Yamedi, Medu Meru, and one to Joe Chutu with Yamedi. And then Ravita, Ola Yamen, doesn't go in Chigi or response.
The attitude then is to approach the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment and recognizing these four great qualities, these further three exceptional qualities of the text, and then to commit oneself to training in the text itself. And as one does so, one is engaged with the Dharma of greatest scope and is practicing within this tradition. But in order to ever do so, one has to have a sufficient store of autonomy. And to gain that autonomy in the first place, one engages in preliminary practices. And these preliminary practices are cleaning your room and arranging the symbols of enlightened body, speech, and mind, obtaining offerings honestly and arranging them beautifully, adopting the 7 featured sitting position of Vairocana on a comfortable seat, after which you take refuge, develop bodhicitta, and so on, while in an especially virtuous frame of mind, petitioning the merit field, offering the 7-limbed prayer, and a world mandala practices that contain all the key points of accumulating merit and self-purification, and 6 further petitions, which follow the oral instructions.
Oh, to say that, to was so that you may not the Tenga to Cheva said that, other Lame Ranga, Topachel, Chevala, Chilab Jubala, so Ataba Mena, and Chilabula Jugumar, Chilo Julamazina, Topachegi or Marine, that's so whatever the Tombo Chavo said, that's so what they with the Dandela, that's Suzuki, Yamling name, Minta Mango, you're the Inata, Lamrim with Chinny Chiva said the Bata, so what the double. Sunday would see the la, and then Georgia Cassant, yes. What I mean, you teach on the sort of mention your response.
In order to develop realization, one requires the blessings of the lineage. In order to receive the blessings, one must first petition the lineage. Without the petition, there will be no subsequent blessing. Without the blessing, then no realization. So then one makes the petition and petitions in the tradition of the lineage of one's instructor. And here it is, ornament to the throat of the fortunate, which is the basis for the petition.
All the time, come on, take to Twin Tower, to do your way, you know. I know to Ben Lamrim to the Tower Jojo in your name. But more Chazan to my one down. And Sunday to the better, which is doing. And she and that 밖에 남들이 밖에 드시자 어딘데 루 차시에다 루스된데 열해서
When the setting is supportive and when there's sufficient time, the custom is to begin with the first of the preliminary practices and to proceed with inclusion of each to the final petitioning, which is done too slowly. This is when there is sufficient time and the setting is conducive.
말한다 다 되지야기 두드딩 아도는 요말 두즈 요말에 아니 튕긴게 창하고래 아니 매대 이내 당가라서 파게티 칸다르 야매치당 데스 지시를 주네 셴바소나 아니 수수고야 야매치 투나에 판도 첨부 배칠럽 첨부 아니 수수 야매 또고 줄에 제래 배녀버도 고니 어디데 레소노스
아니 상 거구라.
주로 야매치당 호로로스 이거
Now we do not have the time. The setting is not entirely supportive of thoroughgoing practice of the 6 preliminary practices. Here they are set apart in ornament to the throat of the fortunate. But when one understands how the practice would proceed and aware of it, approaches it, then this supports and encourages realization, that which we are after in the first place.
근데 다 이제 지금 시작하다 저쪽 냠랜디 아니 원조 냠랜나라 요래 무시 야고 용마야 센데 원조 냠랜 야고 요나 아니 무시대 숙청고 차용 거와 아니 무시대 원조 야고 소나 저기 저가지 아니 저기 저좀 창소나 아니 저와 가리나야 세다 때마 차래서
The 6 preliminary practices are considered introductory. That is, they are the beginning of the practice, which assures success in the actual practice itself that follows. And when the preliminaries in the introductory step are followed by success in the actual meditations, then the conclusion of practice, when this too is successful, through these you have a consummate practice, complete and entire with introduction, preliminary, actual meditation, and conclusion.
근데 다 이내 때 저저가 저저 계산 등기에서 다 당부 거도 손대 또 당부 되는데 이 저저 당부 거기 돌겠나 계산 줘야 돼. 저저 계산 당부대 반대서 라마를 보지. 다기님가 빼면 되죠. 가진 친구분이 제선도 고송 도지 모두 제도 고송 도지 모두 제도 그래서 어디 진짜 시제 아니 시가 되고 잘 이해도 나면 그래서
Now I will recite the verses of petition from the beginning, reciting from ornament to the throat of the fortunate. The verses begin, O glorious and precious root guru, please sit atop my head on cushions of lotus and moon. In your great kindness, please hold me and bestow spiritual attainments of body, speech, and mind. And bestow spiritual attainments of body, speech, and mind. This 4th line is repeated 2 times.
근데 세단이면 당부 건마 두두 좀 고됐다 저저 계산되기 즉 당부시 이제 다 되도 맞다 가르쳐나 손대 메제와 제가 손대 메제시데 아니 소왔다 받아 아니 주가 친기라 받다 간다 사장이 내 처음에 치도라 뒤지 별장 쳐고 했어 뒤지 별장 생다 미과 쳐야 되래 제가 뒤지 별장 미과대 아니 네 당부 거들 약고지 잘신 아니 제마들은 나신 찍어 잘해라 당부들라 알레 뒤지 나 당고 배봐 얘네 장스 수수 저걸 해서
These are the first of the 4 lines. These are the first 4 lines of the petitioning verses. And as these are petitions for the blessings of the lineage, the blessings conferred by the lineage are for the accumulation of autonomy and for the purification of negativity. And so in the petitioning, one may simultaneously visualize the descent and purification by nectar. And when one visualizes so beginning with the first verses, then as one proceeds, that visualization may be maintained. The object of visualization, the descent and purification by nectar, is one thing when we merely speak of it, another thing to implement in visualization. It would be a dry and dull matter to merely speak of it, but as we proceed and I explain how it is done, we may also contemplate it and in fact meditate upon it. As we proceed, we do so just as we do in the second preliminary practice, in which we adopt the Vairocana 7-point posture. The Vairocana posture is a cross-legged posture. The mind, the body, the winds, and the bindus are all in cross-legged posture. However, one might situate oneself so that they are comfortable and so that they are able to contemplate well, that will do, in such a posture that one is alert. Now, as I will describe the meaning in these final lines. In your great kindness, please hold me and bestow spiritual attainments of body, speech, and mind with the Vairocana posture as our basic posture.
Oh yeah, that kusun to the modu zeto sul tango de la du, and it mean what can it show res? That would be that. That mean kusun to the modu zeto tango, that's what the burra, that's what the bizamba. That can it that around the cousin sourcing set of your. This set Ranjat Nangala said, sourcing Sana, cousin set up a machine and set up or rest, it gonna call this one.
As we recite and bestow spiritual attainments of body, speech, and mind in this first recitation of the line, what do we visualize? As we make this petition, we have already visualized the merit field. That merit field is still there, and the petition is made to it.
Oh yeah, that's sourcing, that sourcing key de so de la. 소신 디 랑 수카된 거샤 도데라 랑이 베자에 라마 거샤 노아 라마 거샤 오 라마 딜레 랑가 니버치 마 종니 rangi chula ma ten level some which over
In visualizing the merit field, one is facing the merit field and the merit field is facing one. And at the center of the merit field, one has visualized one's root guru. From the root guru emerges the second replica of the root guru, who situates themselves at the crown of the meditator oneself.
Oh, yeah, that rangi chula. 아니 스타 슈거 슈사게 된디 올 페멘 된 아무 페멘 된디 체 아니 페멘 된디 가라 아니 다웨 된디 거 어디 가라 아니 슈요 같이 아니 슈단 초디 다지 소신 카줄로 하지마다 랑도 랑 카와 칼로 디더 튜버 칼 파텐 슈요 같이 미고 쳐래서
The second replica of the root guru who situates themselves at the crown finds their seat atop a lotus and moon disk and faces the direction that you yourself face, facing the merit field.
Oh, that's 아니 되게 딱 라운드 튜버체 아니 차니 테모제가 수지 아니 다 간다 두 테모제 아니 소신나야다 소왔다고 미고체고 해서
But yani rangja nibadigi and tamajar.
저도 하는데 이버디 테모제는 소신나다 야다 슈그로 내주 슈그로 슈야지 소왔다고 미고체고 해서
And the replica of the root guru at one's crown folds their hands in supplication and makes the appeal in the petition to the merit field.
야, 소왔다고 소와 가렸다고 그래서나 아니 소가 신라 소왔다서 소신다 소신비가 세다죠 소신들라지 다 소왔다베 가렸다고 해서나 다 아니 수수고 로마이나다 다 직거단지 예 보고스 우딜라 아니 자주 남지를 막 남나 로베 여기도 그 로비아가 튕게 창게도 아 제상 콜 안에 저 탈심바 영화하게 근데 gemru 나로 망스 아니 다 계랑이 줄랑아 소신 남지 유된 여러다 근데 가리오래 고신이 되네 쟤네 타마타마 송 밀로베 송주기 바르기 아니 사바가 갸체베 남지 리바티게디 아니 다 콜라 나로 망스 소아타가 치기래서
Matini girne sanju ularu.
야
When the petition is made by the guru with folded hands at one's crown, what is the message? The message delivered to the merit field. It is this. The replica of the guru announces, speaking of their student, you, in these terms, my child, speaking to the merit field, appealing to the merit field, the guru announces, this, my child, has the desire to train in the stages of the path, has those conditions necessary to train in the stages to the path. Protect them as they undertake this training. And it means that the merit field has achieved all qualities that stem from the practices beginning in guru devotion and continuing all the way through to final completion in the path of no more training in the union of shamatha and vipassana. In all of these aspects of the path that you have realized, bestow the realization and qualities upon my child here. Excuse me for 1 minute.
어쨌든 비야 소화답 산에다 해지다. 아니 가르칠 때 소화답도 뒤냠도 아니 소신 남지 꾸이 잘 뒤지들 왜세 유니만 배빠도 춤보마 밤니 아니 지오를 단다 세다베게 한다니 바자라마 저와 텔마 팀니 팀마 팀니 배 예면 최송 삼바지 미고 치고 당고도 미고 치고 그래서
with the petition, and at the very same moment, from the body of the merit field, descend nectar and light. The nectar and light is massive in quantity and descends with great weight into the replica of the Guru at one's crown, dissolving into the Guru at one's crown and becoming indivisible and indissolubly one with the Guru.
어제 다 뒤지 배배 민고도 뒤체 뒤지 배배 민고 거기 뒤지도 배 슈침보 배 간다랑 배 질럽 차단 톱투야도 뒤지 슈침보 근데 봐 밥에 민고 치고 해서
In Ranja Nibala Timba.
마다다 라데 니바 팀사와
Ala Nibadi, Rima Nibadi
아니 뭐 니바면 나 당고들 내가 뒤지 배배 민고 치고 와 뒤지 배배 민고 치도 뭐 밥에도 돼 아직 진주도 오던데 쌤 도와주면 그까지 슈침보 랑이 쌤나 그 차상 강화돼 밥인 거지
Ala, yun, dampodi, ani,
이거도 맞다 당고들 봐 배배 민고 돼
Bebe Mibadi, ani, Chiwur Lashube, ani, Lama Lani.
라마들라 다 일단은 뒤지 배우러 와
No,
뒤에 슈침보 밥인 거지 그래서
no.
난 뒤지 배 밥라마 보라 저거 되네 민고 될 텐데 용 말아 뒤지 배 유망고 봐봐 슈침보 다도 봐봐 되네 민고
Sine Himsa di Lamara.
템살라나
In the petitioning and the visualization of the descent of the nectar descends with great weight continuously. The visualization is of a continuous, weighty stream of nectar. The visualization is not a fleeting visualization of little weight and interrupted. It is a steady stream of nectar that flows with its blessings.
나는 지금 당고되지 나 지금 이버디 된데 고선 토지 모두 제도 살 이버디 된데 뭐 해야 되나 살 이버 지올라 티베게 라마조로 라마 대 아니 라메기 꾸이 뭐 이발라 뭐디 라마 꾸레 뭐 이발라 들어와다 지올라마 대 꾸레 아니 다 가르쳐 먹었나 빵도 유네 아무도 빵도 빵배 유네도 또고 유네요 빵배 유네 가지고 이쪽에 로보고 이모트도다 당신이 이모트도 보다 빵바 또배 유네 아니 랑기다 때 일단 돌란다 고람 돈이 또 배다왔다 찬죽 센스 또배 유네 또배 유네 임발라 넘버디 뒤지들 세게 넘버 10에 아니 마 유인 밥에 미과 지에서
In the repetition of the line, and bestow spiritual attainments of body, speech, and mind. In the second recitation, there is at the crown the Guru, in whom are dissolved the stream of nectar and all associated qualities. And from this body of the Guru at one's crown, the descent of nectar and light continues, conferring the qualities of abandonments and realizations. There are these two sets of qualities of abandonment and qualities of realization. Abandonment of adventitious defilements, abandonment of intrinsic defilements, and the realizations of bodhicitta and shunyata on the path of seeing, and on the path of meditation. These realizations and abandonments appear as nectar and light.
나 뒤지기 박자를 봐봐 그랬나? 자, 나 수술 다 남아되네 마밤다 수술한다. 수술체. 아, 랑기 타고도 아니 막에 심제 탐지. 심제 탐지세. 심제 탐지기 아니 루마 예수와 마밥에 마 쇼고 배고 그래서.
Now where do the nectar and light stream? Into oneself from the body of the Guru at one's crown, and streaming into oneself, streaming also into all sentient beings who surround oneself. Then that descended nectar occupies and fills the body, speech, and mind of oneself and all sentient beings surrounding one.
다 랑이 셈나가 예배다. 그는 네 나가 마 유지도 주로 마 봐봐이나 네 나기 얘기도 봐 되기도 되나시 당 하나도 셈나가 예배 이거 티바 루이도 셈나 예배 이거도 티바 되게 다 오르와 세상다 일로 가려서나 홍면에 사베 티바다 티바스 찍세 아 다단다 모습 봐봐가지고 람림 롭정 지게 보인데 제벌 아니 삼나 따와 당 야치베 람지 림발라 리바니라 아니 리바니 텔라양 아니 도네 셰베 리바다 나나 셰베 리바니요 오 dinsu 줄라 깨웨게 아니 계획다 게 파제 탐제 바 장송 삼바제 미바제 그래서
What occurs with the descent of the nectar from the Guru into one? Just as water and nectar filling a vessel cleanse the vessel of any stains inside of it, so does the nectar and light descending purify the mind of negative karmas and obscurations. And especially in the context of training in the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment, which contains the lineages, the realization of the lineages of profound view and extensive deeds, which themselves derive from the sutras and the mantrayana. All realizations involved in these two lineages derived from sutra and mantrayana, in any way that they have been, that their realization has been prevented in you, any obstructions to realization in you, these are all purified with the descent of the nectar and the light.
Oh, yeah, 당보 미과 식 당보디 소아데 선데 당보디 된뒤 뒤지 베베 미과세 생이바데 잡두 아니 장베 미과 세다스 베장이 미과세나 그럽지 되지래서.
Now in the two repetitions of the line and bestow spiritual attainments, during the first one visualizes particularly the descent of nectar, and in the second, particularly the purification that follows from it.
유지기 막 바발을 때 나는 뒤로 나 뒤바든지 바 장니 아니 류지랑세 방세 류지랑 실제도 봐 그리고 삼바지 내가 뒤쪽으로 해서
And with the purification, the body that is flesh and blood and basis for non-virtuous karmas, with all of its defilements, is purified of all those defilements and becomes luminous.
This one? Oh, yeah. A lady that I pay another lady by Mizan Chata Naba, the lady number you lose over Mizan tea. Ah, Jang. Any virgin Rashin Japan, one and Tanifa. We say Rashin Jan. The suit on a Yido by shooting by someone. The digital that tell you some make what the education was in there or else was.
With the purification of the body that is otherwise flesh and blood and apparently impure, as it is purified, it becomes luminous. It becomes the very nature of clear light. Whoever beholds it is ravished away by it. Visualize the body becoming luminous and ravishing in this way. This is essential to the visualization.
Is the Busan Maji or Mazuki Sujun Suzuka Susula, Wadrich, Tadan, College, or Nas? Ani Mizan, San Zimba. She said, Dumela, there was Zimbas, Niche. Oh, Metapala, Tapazimba, some say. Dadu Matubala, Dadu Bazimba, all the Bashidi Mazus to you. Chijilo logo on the tongue they are as well.
There are 4 principal misguided assumptions involved in our view. The first is the assumption of purity where there is impurity, in fact. The assumption of satisfaction where there is dissatisfaction, in fact. The assumption of permanence where there is, in fact, impermanence, and the assumption of selfhood where there is, in fact, no self. These 4 misguided assumptions.
Oh, yeah, that lewd. And dig Manzu and that Zimba Kare, Lu Semnala, Lu Kurang, Misamare, Sounds in there. Lu Kurang, Dungeware, Dungeware, in a Mazu, there was in there. Oh, Lu Kurang, Mida, Kitchen, David, or on your market, Mazu Tabas in bed. Others, the Loma was judging, chugging, but then you're right. 아니 루고라지 모데 라신기 마주바레데 만주 라신 투바지 디왕게 과다 게 우리 강에 용거 용거로 세단다 디인비 마주기 아 상완진바 아니 대화진바 아니 따바진바 다도 투바진바 시디 파 유징 파 트리네 아 루디 메자와 모데 The
incorrect assumptions are of purity in a body that is impure, of satisfaction of a bodily experience that is essentially dissatisfactory, of permanence to a body that is impermanent. We make 100 or 200 years worth of plans for a body that is impermanent. And the incorrect assumption of there being selfhood in the body where there is no selfhood at all. These misguided assumptions involve us in cyclic existence again and again. These are purified. These misguided assumptions, that of purity, satisfactoriness, permanence, and selfhood, these misguided views are purified by the descent of nectar. These are the four misguided assumptions, purified by the descent of nectar.
Oh, yes, that really got that. The dig too much the part, that much than the ludi bed, rangi ludi, and the gung about tane, and the base shego mizam shaking, but no, shaking no mizam tane, zama said the zama, tama, dinner eating, rangi ludi bed, tama, really like it is you, somebody. Indeed, you ludi nanga, ludi nanga, Karilu resna, ludi a kango, somebody at that kango. Oh, that dinner like 아니 튕긴 투비긴 거야 아려스나 세다 소놈 룬도 또그 연대되게 도스 코야 깡으로 와서 어따데 요새데 간디 가야지가 아니 다 소놈 싸고 쉐고래 소노스
These four stains are eliminated. The body that had its defilements and faults is purified of these and becomes like crystal, translucent and luminous by its own very nature. And in this visualization of the body, there is yet space to fill within it, and that space is filled with the life force and the growing autonomy and the Dharma of scripture and realization, which fill the crystal-like purified body. And when we speak of the accumulation of autonomy, it is occurring in the filling of this vessel.
Oh, yeah, that Mondola. Was Lamrim in Yamen, Comjagi, Josam Chen, Turba, some of Goba Chigi Yoba Yindu, that Donga in the Shebeg, Dodanga in the Shebeg, and then I lam you to buy you up. Oh, lam using by Jachever, lam using but summer lam using by Nibute, summer lam using beg, talk by Chevajet. That's what I became in the Rangi to the Chilato, the Rangi to the top of the kiss some pay. And it got the chain Congo resons.
And during study, contemplation, and meditation upon the stages of the path to enlightenment, derived from the sutra and from the secret mantrayana, and all of the stages involved in the path, involving the lineage of extensive deeds and the lineage of profound view, both, from these, their realizations are conferred as blessings by the force of the petition made, and the blessings of the lineages are bestowed upon one, so one conceives as they make the petition.
Oh, yes, that is the Bijan, we got Chalang. The Zenchik Chalang does the Nichi come to na. Any Shambal Pecha and come to you, the Kasaka, Yamachis a Mambula, to get Chatham Mambul or as one.
Now, if this entire process is understood, then one can apply the very same technique in many different areas.
Oh, that's not good. No, Yamneshi do is representing the Tando Tile Saba, but Tile Gacha Congress, and Tinimatin doesn't go there. And if you are the door, Lamrim condition and to get call governor, is representing the Yamne Kasaka Chicho response.
The descent and purification by light and nectar is found too in the secret mantrayana, and there the practice is even more extensive and even more profound. It is employed too, the descent and purification of nectar, in the Vajrasattva purification practice. So whether it is in the great treatise on the stages of the path to enlightenment and its context, or elsewhere, the descent and purification by nectar is used everywhere.
Oh, yes, that's so good. And then also Turbe. Not Turba Tsaras, Turba Tsaras. I'm Joe, like a Tsasons. 다디네 담조고 내가 저 셈수 지지 제제네 삼중지 결스 공로제 삼중지 결로제 가만히
So now the listening exercise, that labor of our ears, has been completed, and now the ear must transfer authority over to the mind itself.
아마 찍지 아니 삼사도 퇴비 퇴비 파래 삼루스 마파 지직당 까마 직 수수 삼당 곰다 짠 삼당 제수
So now engage the mind in a reflection and contemplation. Let's do that now for a minute.
야 아삼에 된다 삼바디 다 공중식 공중식이 양도 꼽았어 당기 셈나 양도 제벌 제봤어 맹아 대당 당기 셈이부디 바로 동반해봐 바 베카가 많이 봐 시단로도 많이 봐 바로 동점해봐 수이 바로 배추 제네 여봐 대대지나 공중식으로 와 제가 딱 맹아 대당 당기 셈도 수 디니 양가만 찍지 한번 당로 해서
This was then contemplation, to be followed by meditation, which is the repeated re-exposure of the mind to the meaning, such that the meaning of here, the oral instruction, becomes indivisible from the mind itself, there being no gap anymore between the two. So entirely mixed have they become, the instruction, the oral instruction here in its meaning, and the mind become indivisibly one through the repeated exposure to the meaning. And here we meditate. So now the meaning of the oral instruction and the mind become indivisibly one. And now we meditate upon this to make them one. 1 minute here. Now, if you're able, then you may keep your eyes open as you meditate.
오예 세상다 나도 드린 아니 대표장게 셰바다 고바 센터에 스토바다 삼바다 고바 순간에 양초전때 수도버터 차려서 이어서
Thank you. And now today through instruction in the descent and purification of nectar, through your listening to the instruction and descent and purification by nectar, I hope that the mind has become slightly moistened by the meaning. Now I think it is I think that the visualization of nectar as purifying the mind of negative karmas and obscurations, and light itself purifying the mind of mental negative karmas and obscurations is an effective visualization. Now that which is purified is the body that is purified and the mind that is purified. Defilements to the body are comparatively easy to remove, whereas mental defilements, obscurations to the mind, are more difficult, are tougher to remove. The negative karmas of body and speech are not merely already accumulated negativities of body and speech. They are past accumulated, presently accumulating, and negativities to come as well. The visualization involved in the first 4 verses is repeated with each following verse without very much change. All that would change are the objects of the petitioning, beginning first with the gurus of the lineage of extensive deeds, followed by the gurus of the lineage of profound view, followed by each of the gurus of the 5 groups of gurus. And as one proceeds through the verse, each new name will arise, but the descent and purification of nectar and light in its visualization remains the same. Now, I suspect that there are questions about the descent and purification by nectar, and so we have an extra 5 minutes to address any questions there may be. And when you raise your question, raise your hand too near your ear so there's a sound as you make your argument. So then,
Where to
Yeah, that's all that zip of John. That is zip of John citizen Bakanda. You did. They would to me the Noya, you did Tawa Chesona. That the zip of John said, me what that Sangi or that's one.
So we've got a descent and purification by nectar. And the descending, purifying nectar succeeds in descent and purification when those causes that ripen into dissatisfaction and pain are thoroughly eliminated. That then is the end of the descent of nectar.
Oh, yeah.
So then there must be a question.
Yes, I'm okay. I think now.
So I'm a little lost in the process of doing this, so I recognize that it starts with the guru. And then there were the lineage of extensive being, the lineage of profound being. And I think Geshe said we do this 4 times, basically listing the gurus in each one of the lineages. And another visualization is right, left and right, and behind. I'm a little lost in which are the 5 groups of the lineage gurus that we're visualizing, where we're envisioning them kind of raining down nectars to the guru that then rain onto us.
아니 lama denga yobdi hagoson yana denzo ani selbo mendu 아니 지 시여래 야만nga 여래 아니 직 예초단 연초단 겹초 이게 바로 양 yobdi hagoson yana 데데 축son 따드네 데 아니 lama denga네 아니 디시디 마르바 용게와 아니 렘신도 바 용게르베 간스 바도 근데 아니 센덴서 아니 버긴 간스 버그래
Oh, yes, what's that? But what say, what said that? What Lama Denga said, what Denga Changadi, the way the
So then I would need to clarify this for you. There are 5 groups of gurus.
Oh, yes, but what did the Rangi give the questions? Yabdilla. Yan Chile Lama state Doji Chanema, Uni, and just such a Bakiwala Jenny. But the Juju was in that Rangi Jab Marco shows around 2 colors of Jab in the Marco shows.
Juju Latin
You on the Juju.
Latin people. The first group of gurus is arranged behind one. It is the lineage of great blessings, of consummate deeds, beginning with the Buddha Vajradhara and extending through Shantideva. And including Tilopa and Naropa.
Oh, this is that in a year mojo in the Nibati. Young modular, Yawa Chambane, Sene, Yawa Chambane, any Papa Tomate, and the Matan Kaji Juju, Lama Chu, to the go, that's what. Oh,
and then 2 ones right, beginning with Maitreya and continuing through a Sangha containing 14 gurus, the lineage of extensive deeds.
That in a dual course, dual children motoji Lamat course. Children motoji Juve Lama. Children motoji Juve Lamas.
Then in front of one appears the gurus of the lineage, of the power of the direct learning from one's principal guru.
다 유용한 주들라 진짜 배양네 쟤네 아니 바바 루루네 쟤네 리베 구주 나와 잡아 아니 되네마 쟤네 다 라마까지 둘이 뒤를 저랬다 야
네.
뒤요
맞아요.
뒤요 뒤자 뒤 상어다 유스
네, 아니, 받은 처자, 맞아.
나와라
나와라.
리베 구주니
No.
나와라
And to one's left, beginning with Manjushri and including Nagarjuna, Vidyakolika, the greater, the younger, Chandrakirti, and a total of 7 gurus, the lineage of profound view.
랑이 대냠 랑이 길다 조다 기다 냠돌라 아니 랑이 최대 모두 남아 가져야 되고 지기는 지금 방법이 너무 뭐도 거 뒤다 뒤는 것도 되고
And before one, importantly, the gurus of the lineage of the power of direct learning from one's principal guru. That may be one guru there, or it may be any number of gurus included there. Now, is that now clear?
I've done 4 groups.
등이 난갈라 주배 천정모도 유배라마스고 천정모도 유배라마 따자 지그디 또디요라 아주 소신기 조제로 조다 냠돌라 두스기로 두스거네 당에 뭐 사람 천재 유배 모도 돼 라운드 좀 천재 유배 모도 가면 지금 가서는 어떻게 라운드 두시도 냠도 거와 셴바디게 나갈 거예요 시 나갈 거예요 아 천정모도 이나마 아니 사이다 비티시 지나 와는 거래 자 오늘 규벨라마 거라 사단 천정모도 규바 책도요 봐 제랑서 라운드 냠도 도면 찍어지네 기계 쪼다 냠도 거예요 아주经过나서 제 알았으면 거기도 와 어디 천정모도 연락만 전되지 거야
Yeah, then they got his the gap ye then this she might know
된지 나갈 거나 시 나갈 거야 다랑도 냠도 끼나 당도 모습 그 믿음이 통하는 거야 그래도 남았고 주로모도 유배 남아서 축감에
그래서 그냥 기업들이 아니 남가다 이거 근데 아니 두시가
나가 실 거예요 와 이게 조저와 조디 튕겨가도 이 라마집에 조신한테 얍스스 그것도 도면 집어치기도 어디 제가 라마 나간다 그 조신다 왜 도면 냠버지 어디 전쟁모도 남았어 나는 취시 라마체 나는 취시니 라멘 라마티 기거지 것이야
그래서 전에 제선지 아니 대시 시여 요래 아니 책라 대진니여 바체 라 책라
근데 모두 라마카 라멘 라마야도 그거와 아마 라마야 지디처럼 추모 시니 람 추모 추모 예배 라마 지금 현재 유직 라멘 라마
There are 4 lineage of gurus arranged in the space of the sky itself, overhead, as it were. And then there is the 5th group that is at the base on one's same level. They are those who are depicted in the tanka of Jitsongkapa and 2 Heart Sons. notice that Jezong Kapa and the two heart disciples are seated at the same level. Now, the guru from whom you have received direct instruction in the Dharma is there on that level, and then the gurus of that guru, your guru, make up one of the four groups arranged in the space of the sky above, along with those other three. So there are the four in space above, and then on the ground level, those sharing the same level.
Oh yeah, that is the person. Even the person did so big one should see you. Raptona, the person become Lama Tamjin, the person to Chilama, Baltua. And Kissi answered me well on the pub, and budget Pavel, and the genetic year.
Now, for the maximum effect of descending nectars and their purification, visualize the descent of nectars streaming from all of the gurus in the arrangement simultaneously. But if this is too great a challenge, if this visualization may be done in steps and stages.
That is the person. Chituna can get hedged. Lama Tamji, good disease, a true demand disease, a hedged power children. Because Lama Tamji, Kusum to more chigmato, more tade your mother, digging your name. You are Tandala, hedged the poverty. What Chituna,
It is best to visualize the descent of light and nectar occurring all together at once, streaming simultaneously from all the gurus in one great descent of light and nectar, for the reason that they are a unity of body, speech, and mind. They are one and identical in body, speech, and mind. So for the comprehension of that, the descent would be one and at once.
무슨 로고 통도도 찍어도 니 통한다고 된제기 하나 주 두고요 두번나시 미과대 단단히 되지 않고 열어서
이제 다니 롱화 이숨디양 찍도 뒤로
저쪽으로 담아 좀 저쪽으로 담아 하나 저 주변 몰라 민저 가가 통고요 와 로마 주변 몰라 가가 통하여 말 직차도 저다 제마 타마 로마 주변 원래 로마 주변 원래 어제 직차대로 그래서 되게 미과 냠len 디 주뒤야 쉐베다다 다다 미과 장거 열어서
Now, in the integration into one of body, speech, and mind, which happens that we do draw the apparently diverse three into one in a process of integration, it being only three in appearance by the force of incorrect view, these are integrated again into one, and this is the object and purpose of the practice too.
어이 아니 저게 가세로 참아서나 산이 제일 막에 이 초신수 뒤야 가더라 대시 약혼 대시 레벨로 한 뒤에 세도 그래서
Now, if this hasn't resolved your confusion entirely, later on, too, in the dissolution and integration of the merit field, we'll be able to address your concern.
Thank you.
야, 내는 신발 되다. 야, 예서 저저 어디 지지라.
네, 바이러바 해서.
Thank you. There's a question. I think I understood that in this process, there would be two blessings, conferred by, a group. And I can't, could you repeat what they were?
아니 티와 도고 직슈고이나 아니 젠라 카문라니 바비용그와 직
지지도세.
디지던스 단 직진아 공기 아니 공발라 또바당 아니 빵배한테
또가 방법이야.
이게
또가 방법이야. 이거 또가 방법이야. 만족이 뭐만 한다 집어 장야 되라야. 루지 집어다 나 집어 니도 와서 쓰르거다. 루지 집어다 셈 집어 니도 와서 제만 집어 토비자 마야 추구도 수군이요. 추구도 수군 토비야 된다라. 마토리아 계획이 되라. 아니 가리었으나 방법이다. 아니 방법이요. 일단 이거서 방법이부터 로북이 지금 방법다 라싱이 되면 방법이요. 하고 방법이부터 뭐 그거 방법이부터 방법이 아니 똑바져와 방법 거든지 똑바게 아니 남져와 딜러 똑바스 어디 거해서
나와네 이게 내 상처.
야
There are two qualities, the qualities of abandonment and the qualities of realization. When the mind and the body are purified of their stains, the purification of the stains of mind and body yield the form body, the Rupakaya and the Dharmakaya, the Buddha bodies that are Rupakaya and Dharmakaya. That which prevents the realization of abandonment are the obscurations known as the adventitious stains and the innate stains. These are abandoned, and with their abandonment, then the path itself is realized and realizations are realized. These two then, I get you to show this. So you get on the jigging song. And then the Savajinity animal drawing, cut and drawing,
들어왔다. 방법 되라. 로북이 치마 방법지 라싱이 치마 방법지 방법이도 방법이 방법 또바니야. 방법지 방법 또바지도 들어와다. 돈이 또배. 타부 샤라고 샤니요로 와. 야 제가 타다. 로북이 치마 방법이 방법 들어와. 로북이 치마 방법이 방법 고den지. 라싱이 좀 보고도 라싱은 벌써 오니군이 대니 빵배 빵과의 또니기 남편이야.
따뜻이 아니 가르치는게 말
라싱이 tim했다고.
팀답에 아니 빵바티 아니 모니고 모니고 추구를
이거 추구나. 야.
The two qualities are qualities of abandonments and the qualities of realizations. The two forms abandonments take are the abandonment of the adventitious stains, the abandonment of the intrinsic or innate stains. With the two abandonments, there are two realizations. The realization that is the abandonment of the adventitious stains, that is Nirodha itself, cessation, and the essence body of the Dharmakaya, that is the realization of the abandonment of the intrinsic stains. So it is the essence body that is the intrinsic purity. Now, if there are any other questions, think about them for a moment. Now, if there are no questions, we can recite our closing prayers.
Yes. Geshe, thanks so much for these descriptions. I wanted to know, when we say samadhi, well, can you help define what we mean when we say the word samadhi? I'm a little unclear if it could be either maybe one state of mind, or is it some concentration on some other set of things? Can you help define what we mean with this term?
Adene tichidene tingin tanya di sim zambala ane koa karak lengore ane di chida ane tingin serdio ane semchik la gogore yamena ane sheja mendrawa la rikpa jemnya la gogore karak gogore di ane sini dawo chik sun sharuchi
땡에 세고 땡에 진짜가 땡에 샘 마이만 대부신 네 투바스 샘 배chuyển 간다 샘 만네바 네 투바체 당고디체 네 투야 될라다 만네바체 내단 될라 네 수비도 요래서
Samadhi. In the word, we understand a firmness, an undistractedness, an ability to remain fixated upon the object. In this ability to stay fixed upon an object, there are different fashions or ways in which that fixedness occurs.
샘 토마시 땡에지 장화가 땡에지 토마토도 미과 찍을 내봤어. 땡에지 따디 야고 미과 찍을 때는 야고 템포 차 사서나 아니 미과 제고 잡네. 아니 샘 마투가 미과 제고 잡투가 어디 제자 이열에서
In the first achievement of samadhi, the samadhi will be achieved in concentration upon a single object. When the samadhi fixated on a single object becomes firm, then the object of meditation may revolve, may be alternated. And in the alternation and revolving through of objects, the mind exercises samadhi. That first samadhi is shamatha, serenity. It is followed by vipassana, the special insights. There is no end to the benefits from samadhi.
아니 자불인 수그리서 파첨부 쳐 당하나요 땡기증서 수총 당에 땡기증서 그래서
The qualities of samadhi, when samadhi is realized, are the very qualities of magical emanation. To be able to increase a thing in size, to reduce anything in size.
셀 제말로 써야 돼 땡기증서 그래서
To transmute metals. This is a force of samadhi.
야, 땡기증이 내들어요. 아니 신바도 나 이메나
Such are the qualities, the guna of samadhi.
야, 신바가
Others.
Question about clarifying, visualizing ourselves as we're visualizing the merit field. So is it that we, just as I look upon the Tonka, the merit field, that I am separate from the merit field? Or I vaguely recall something where we also visualize like our essence integrated into Shakyamuni. So then, are we kind of visualizing ourselves in two places, or are we just separate? Just as I am sitting here and I'm looking upon the merit field.
Oh yeah, the ngeti soxing gom tsu gi kolorwa. Tade set up tsu gi kolorwa. But jidan de soxing di susugi dunla mekpa kyang gogere kapte chanero kapte chalana kat dus katene parla katene mekpa kyang gogere yamenas momane tendu double chik goson susugi ngowo takchat tambegi ngowo dan yerme me varasam susugi ngowo di soxing rang yimbe mötsu diang chik goson kandes sacha mandrawa soxing di sacha tadeba mandrawa ni yoba mögere yamene chik du mögere be
그런 소신 이 상점 소신 상점마다 대샤 치료를 넣으면 더 야구를 해서
that you found yourself right on the border, straddling the border, right there at the merit field, and you mustn't leave now.
예, 따뜻한 소신 뒤 끝나면서 소신 미국 재단 수수도 뒤뒤뒤 미국 제거야 가시 열에서 소신 수수로 주 칼로네 랑 소신 주 칼로 수수 파로 하는 공부가 뒤뒤 열에
But
아무데
양식 있었나?
소신 소신 아무 소신 세답으로 와 세답도 잠바 소신의 랑이 이 등이 나가를 거 봐. 나가를 거 아니 나가대다 수주 미국에서 집에 오지 토지지 있어요. 어디가 세답을 해서 그랑 수칼로 세답을 해서 정말 비슷.
So there's a first order or first arrangement in which for simplicity's sake in the space before one the merit field is visualized facing in one's direction and arranged in space in front of one.
이세상 야. 다 근데 이제 다 소신 세답이야. 다 냠내 가실래야. 미국에다 가실라. 수수당 초 틈바체는 미국에 거기서 근데 열에서
Now in another technique of practice, the merit field is visualized instead facing the same direction one faces oneself. This is another technique.
야. 다 저랑 저 이바들라. 소신당한테 수수샘도 소신만 보시 바로 들어와서 어디 다 간다를 수수그 그 소신이다. 소신 계획이 시도디 랑이다. 루디 샘디. 야 고가 랑이 샘디 야 얘기 간다 수수그 샘디다. 소신이 난기다 거기에 샘니부터 타대다 위험을 찍었다고 해서 뭐지 거기 뭐지 차대요. 이내 단단 감도 주변에 가가 통이요. 네, 곧 간다 소신 계획 시도도 수수 샘도 제거를 해서
Which then brings us to the question of the separation between oneself and the merit field, and apparent that the two are apparently distinct. But the merit field, whether it faces in one's direction or one faces in the same direction as the merit field, in any case, the merit field's basis is the mind that conceives of it. The field, the merit field, and the mind that visualize it are identical. It is only our misperception or misapprehensions that ascribe the difference or distinct separateness of the two.
근데 소신 예세시의 수수 샘디체 샘디배 수수였고 아니 소신이 계산시 네가 소신들이 깨어서
The basis of the merit field is the mind itself. The mind puts the merit field to form, that is, gives it form.
안당한서 치료를 배수 고바서 내 로마서 신도서 망고서 해디 말한저라 또 빼댄서 그 당보지 수수기 거기에 섬유나라 차야게 빼줘 지도 꼬여버려 왔다 오늘이 수수 샘디게 네가 소신들이 아니 소신들의 샘니보다 배 뭐예매 지도 통투와 지금 지시도를 땡기지 거면 또 미국 땡기지 미국에 돈 공부로 와서
The merit field composed of or situated upon a tree with a trunk and with leaves and the rest are in these details, the details for our gaining some purchase on the field itself, some traction with the field itself and its details. But in actuality, the field, the merit field itself, and the mind are identical, and ultimately their unity and identical nature is to be understood through the exercise of samadhi, and the merit field is the basis for that exercise in samadhi.
배도 샤샤වෙ나 배도 잘라 신부있다나 잘라 망도 우샤와 해서 당겨요 말했어 당한서 배나 삼도디 배도 샤는 삼도 당겨이나 미치 시에다 민라시 망고 차부이나 참도 시에도 망고 차부이나 참도 잠발라 참니 미치 두럽다 메다고 남주다 메다된 차부이나 미기 통주라 다대 망고 통그러 왔어.
Now, importantly, in an illustration, understand that the merit field is not like an object filled with lots of other objects, some things stuffed with other things. It is instead like the performer who has myriad costumes and masks that they may don and perform wearing. In all of the appearances, it is the appearance of the same individual costumed differently. So understand that in the myriad appearance, there is identical person nature there.
아리를 바마부터 바 주냐 바를 나는 걸 찍고야 파픽 찍고 당골랑고 바에서 거지 거는 또 랑고 랑고도 들어 아디네 바지 미식면 어디 미저는 심이지고 그 남주 때문에 막 때문에 이내 나로 뒤에 미치로 어디 나시 미버치나 아니 갈래갈래 삼번나 좋아할래 돌려서 안돼서
So see it, that you could buy many different masks first you would wear a mask of a bull, and then you could take that mask off and put on the mask of another person, and then you could take that off and wear the mask of a cat, and you could revolve through many masks, and each time a person seeing you would say, oh, here is a bull, here is a person. This merit field is like that in a numerous appearances with the underlying identical nature.
야, 일단 단대성이 너한테 지금 조용을 드린 대시하는 거는 아니 다 드린 거도 디지벨장 미과 시에베갈 때네 아니 직당 알아서 그 뭐만 통면에 사벨 내게 디dim 단지 봐 다봐 에 다발을 때네 아니 그런 도지 예대 단자랑 줄라 토바 네 토발을 때네 아니 말아도 지대 이제 감된다 네모 프로스 막 베네베르 네 나서 게 차고 가리는 제보를 시외치도 인사바세 뭐럼 숙청보게 하면 더 같은 게 있어.
Understood in this way, the merit field will become sensible. Now, through the instruction in the descent and purification of nectar and light, which purifies all negative karmas and obscurations from beginningless time, and then confers all qualities of body, speech, and mind, with these tremendous blessings of the descent and purification of light and nectar, we direct their force to the pacification of all violent conflict and famine and illness and all the natural catastrophes in the world, that they will be alleviated. Then with great fervor and intensity, direct the force of this through these closing prayers.
Dene rendu bele toni je kadar yamba kashi saba lome mari ke do rowa yi nale jave ombo tangi uchi tema sebe zera pende yang jambe yang je sewe je so tembe remba kunzan lam ji jo jene rube kena ye che sho ragi che shin dobe lam ji ne sho ra sewe trawe tabge rowe ye je mba se je ne jawe temba yore se juru ji temba rinjin cho ge ma ja ba chab ja nyambar jube cho de ne Niji chimwe yera jeba yi, pete teje sewara jebara sho. Seje gyawe mejun chile leju janju lamje rembe yang. Tadu namje yila pete jin, gyawe zeba rindu kyongju roje. Langsan drube tunjin roje jin, gege seje medam meme. Sera kundu jawe mapa yi, namda lamda jawa magirji. Kanse tiba chola chuchuji, suji drula tsumba desi. Tute namji tatu rochi chi, tachi gyaso chugun kyagiruchi.
From my two collections, vast the space that I have amassed, from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose mind and wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach that state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all my lies and mandrations. May I find the best of the path of the complete teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by practicing. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings, with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold Buddha's teachings for a very long time, with my heart going out with great compassion, in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread or once spread have declined. May I offer this treasure of happiness to aid all sentient beings. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be granted boundless peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time, by following the complete graduated path to enlightenment and the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their sons. May all human and non-human beings that eliminate adversity and make things conducive for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path raised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtuous practices, may he always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere.
Nage Jinye
Sabe
Sabe
Gewandi,
Gewandi
Tendandro
Ben Yebara Jizun Losan Rabai
Tembe Nipo Rindu Sete Sho.
Kare Gare Kobe Shinkande Penda Dewa Malu Yoene Sere Sewan Tizi Yazu Yi Shabe Sidi Pardu Tengirchi Jaju Sambo Jidare Kimbadan Kundu Sambo Deyan Dejinde Deda Gungi Jisu Dalo Gewa Dida Tanje Ratu Yuzum Shebe Gyawa Tamti Gi Mowa Kanda Shudu Mawa Dagi Gewe Zawa Digun Gyan Sambo Chiji Ragu Mowa Regi Janju Senju Rinpoche Amagi Wana Gengir Chik Gewa Nyamba Nebo Ayong Kone Kotu Bewara
I dedicate whatever virtues I've ever collected for the benefit of the teachings of the sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of Venerable Bhagwan tropical to shine forever. In the land encircled by snowy mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful children and cleansing gospel, please remain until cyclic existence is ended. Just as the Brahmins, Manjushri, and Samantabhadras do, realize things as they are. Also, I dedicate all these merits in the best way, that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these roots of virtue, with the dedication praised as the best, by the victorious left gone ones of the three times, so that I might perform the noble bodhisattva's deeds. May the supreme jewel bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more.
뭐 그전에 나말로 뒤도에는 지로be 샤라데 되게 되는 샤라주 투니고 나라 나고 아니 뭐 저거 틀에 나로 나고 그렇게
Thank you, and if you have time, then join us outside for